Welcome back to Puzzle Rush Survival Mode. As I said already, the exercises are getting successively tougher, and since we managed to do the first 40 exercises correctly, you will now see the exercises starting from exercise 41, or actually 40, since I will include the last exercise from last time as the first exercise this time, just to make the transition smooth. Thanks a lot for your interest in the video. It's again white to move, and first idea is to play rook takes e6. After queen takes e6, I have knight h6 check, winning the queen. And after rook e6, I have knight g5, and then let's say queen e7, knight e6, queen e6, and then again the same motive with knight h6 check. So that should be the solution. And that's it. The next one. Here white's back rank seems a little bit unprotected. So if I go bishop d7, I threaten to take the knight on a4, and I threaten on e1. And if he exchanges, I just take back with the queen, and then I still have the double threat. So bishop d7 seems to be winning. All right, it's again white to move. Okay, my first idea was to go c takes d, and then after rook c2, I just have bishop a5. And he cannot take back because c2 rook is hanging, and he can also not take on e2 because then I can take on d8 and I emerge with a piece up in the end. So that's again relatively straightforward. Now this one, this seems to be complicated, so many pieces on the board. And I don't have any move which I would consider to be like the obvious move in the position. One move that maybe comes to mind is knight f4 check. And if king d2, I could take on d3 still. And after king takes d3, I have rook f3 check followed by queen e4. This could be one interesting line. And if I don't see anything else, I will definitely go for this one. I think it's, it looks reasonable. Okay, inserts knight f6 check, but okay, so I should be a little bit careful because I might have queen c4 check. But actually, I'm not bothered by this, so I will still take rook f6. Okay, exercises get harder, and now for the next one, the obvious move is queen g3 check, because the pawn is pinned, but white could just go back to h1 in this case, so I don't think that this is a solution. The other obvious move is knight to g4. And the third possible move, which is a little bit less obvious, but probably the solution, is just bishop takes f2. Because after king takes f2, I have knight g4 check, and then it's mate in 3 or something, right? So that's the solution. And I'd have to mate. Here I should rather be quick because black is already threatening a lot. So I need to find a quick solution. One forced line that I would calculate here is queen takes c6, b takes c6, bishop a6 check, king c7, but then it's not going anywhere. So this is a tricky one because black is threatening at least queen g3, and so white has to be quick. if I go queen f8 check, which is the other obvious move, black could go king c7. And then again, it's not clear to me how I would continue there. Maybe then I have rook d7 check, king takes, knight c5 check. Oh, that's beautiful. King c7 and knight e6. Oh, that's pretty beautiful. So let's put it on the board. And now the exercises are really getting harder, but also more beautiful. All right, the next exercise, again, white to move. The obvious move here seems to be e6, because after fe, he disrupts the protection of his bishop, and I could go queen g4. So after e6, if black goes bishop e6, then I could go bishop d4. He has to go if he goes g6, I have queen e5, and if he goes f6, I have queen g4, and then after king f7, I even have rook e1. Okay, that's, and here I have queen e5. I think I said right. Yeah. All right. Next one, black to move. Yeah, black is a piece down here, so black should attack somehow. The issue here is that a direct attack on the king and a kind of move like rook a1 I think is not working, because I don't really threaten anything. So I think it's more about promoting the pawn, or playing rook a2, queen takes b3, rook f2. And in this case, white has rook g4. And after h5, rook g3. Yeah, nonetheless, I think rook a2 is the most obvious, because I don't really see how I could promote this pawn. Because let's say if I go queen d1, he could just go knight c3, and there's nothing. So I think the only way to attack anyhow is rook a2. As you can see now, I'm not able to calculate the entire line at once anymore as before. But I have to rely on first making a move. And here I reckon queen f2 might be the correct move, because after rook f2, I think queen f2 is the correct move, because then I later on have still rook a1 as a resource. And then after rook g4, I will go h5. Oh, the computer gives an easier line, which is sometimes happening with these puzzles, that the computer gives you an easier line than the one you were expecting, which is a nice surprise. Yeah, this is one of those puzzles where it's the famous question, which rook to take? And yeah, so the candidate moves are rook d2, any rook to d2. So what is black threatening here? If I put some rook to d2, and then he would take either on d3 or d1, and then I could take on a2. Now the question is, which rook do I want? Or I put differently, where do I want to have his knight in this position? Queen h5 check, king g2, it could be inserted at some point. And then the question is, where do I want to have the rook? And the answer is, I don't want to have it on d1, because then you could take the rook on d1. So I think the correct move should be rook from 1 to d2. And to this. I think I could even reply queen h4. Yeah, I don't see anything which speaks against queen h4, but I could also go just king g2. After queen h4, maybe he wants to take on d3 and some weird tricks with queen h5 and rook d2. I don't know, queen h4 also seems good to me. But yeah, king g2 also seems good. So I'm a little bit torn here. King g2, knight d3, rook a2. I don't see anything, so I'm just going to go for this line here. Okay. Again, black to move. The most natural move would be to take the knight on d4 with a queen. I don't really see what speaks against that. Other than that, this exercise is now already one of the more difficult ones. So should at least think for a second if this makes sense. But I think queen d4 is looks almost forced. I mean, one thing that could make sense is to first provoke his bishop to go to f4. So if I go queen d6, bishop f4, queen d4 check, king h1, I could take on f4. He takes back, and yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm not yet really seeing the motive, but it could be something like queen d4 checking h1, knight g4, and then it's very hard for white to defend against knight f2. So I think queen d4 looks. Oh, this was wrong. Yeah, I played it too quickly. Should not have done that. Yeah, so with the more difficult exercises, you need to take your time. Here, the logical moves seem to be queen b5 check or queen a6 check. And the exercise is probably about finding the nuances between the two moves. Queen b5 check looks very normal. I think queen b6 check is worse probably because then you can insert b5 and at some point you might threaten queen b4 check. So I'm just going to go for queen b5 check and yeah, I could take. But rook c8 also looks very good here. Yeah, rook c8 looks very tempting. So then it's really hard to defend against rook takes c4. I'm going to go for rook c8. And now I'm just going to take this one. Yeah. Okay, we reached 50, which is good. And yeah, the next one. Yeah, we might want to keep the hard ones for the next video. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. One move that comes to mind is bishop takes f7. But then black can just go king h8. And I don't really see the way forward. Or I could go rook e1. Or I could go rook takes f7, which would be a very direct approach. Rook takes f7, rook takes f7. Queen d8 check, king h7, and then I don't have anything. Rook f7, rook f7, rook f1, bishop e6 is also okay for black, so I don't think rook f7 is the solution, which leaves us with a move like rook ae1. Threatening rook f7. So I think rook ae1 looks very good. And then rook f7 in the next move. This looks like a decent solution. Yeah, I think in this case I can just take on e5. Yeah, this one was not terribly difficult. So let's go with the next one, which is again black to move. So what's the deal with this position? As you can see now, it gets really tricky. So like the first 30 or 40 exercises of this puzzle rush, they are usually quite nice, but now it gets really difficult, at least for me. So what is white threatening? White is threatening to take my queen. And it looks at first sight as if white is just better here, because of the queen g4 check, rook g3, my queen is attacked, and my king seems to be extremely open here. Do I have any tricks connected to queen takes f3? I don't think so. Just king takes f3 and game over. Well, I could go back with the queen to some square and keeping the pin on the f3 rook. Now the question is, which is the correct square? And these are often, as I said, the very difficult decisions in chess, which square to go to. I mean, the first intuition would say that b7 is the correct square, because that way you would prevent rook e7 and queen a7. Especially queen a7 I really have to prevent. So I think queen b7 looks like the most reasonable move. This was unfortunately wrong. And here, again, it's a question of which square to go to. And as I said in the previous one, these are always the tough questions to face. So I could either go to c4 or c2, because if I go to c3, you can go e2 and give me a check in the move afterwards. So now the question is, which is the correct square, c4 or c2? And that's a difficult one. Yeah, without spending enormous amounts of time on the exercise, it's really difficult for me to figure this one out. I think my intuition again suggests that c2 is the better square. But I might very well be wrong here. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to go for c2. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. c4 could also be the better square, because then he doesn't have rook d2 check in any line, but rook d2 check is not working, so I don't think this is an argument. I think c4, e2, c8 queen, e8, e1 queen. I think I'm going to go for king c2 because then at least I can have the squares to, for instance, give a check on c3. So now after rook d2 check, my initial idea was to go king c1. And I don't really see what speaks against that. So just going to... now I get the idea. This is this is steep again. So black's idea is to go e2. Wow. So black's idea is to go e2. Now if I go king c1, that goes e2, and after king takes d2, back goes king f2. But then I can just go c8 queen, and I don't really see king c2 next move, and I don't really see what the problem is. I just go king c1, I take, and c8. Okay, this was a hard one. The next one is again white to move, and this looks very good for white. The main problem is that you really need to mate here because black has just a ton of pieces which is up, and so you really need to mate. Okay, if you give a check, now the question is if you should give a check first, and if so, with which piece. And the way I would approach it is to see if something direct is working. So let's say queen b3 check, king c8, rook a4, but then black can probably go queen e8. And I don't see anything direct. So the other move that I would calculate here is rook a4, because this really threatens mate with queen b3. So after rook a4, the only response which I can see is king c8. This is really difficult. This is really difficult. I might also want to bring the knight in, then like play knight d4 in this position. After rook a4, king c8. Maybe just bring another piece with knight d4. Yeah, to be honest, I have no clue, and I don't want to spend too much time on this exercise, so I will go with rook a4 without being certain that this is the correct move. No, this was the wrong move. And so it tells me that I managed to get 52 exercises correct, which is fine. So I think more or less what I would also get when I don't do it on camera. So I'm quite happy with that. And thanks a lot for watching this puzzle rush. Let me know if you like the video. You can also subscribe and watch some of my other videos if you want. And you can also leave comments in terms of what you want to see in terms of potentially new videos. Thanks a lot for watching.